Hi there, my name is Ciara Conduit and I'm a medical oncologist. I'm delighted to be here today with Tim Baker. Tim, you've had an incredible sort of journey, if you will, one that you probably wouldn't have chosen.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and I guess why you're here with us today at the ANZUP Annual Scientific Meeting?
Yeah, sure, happily. So I was diagnosed in July 2015 with metastatic prostate cancer. And I guess I've just tried to be really proactive about managing my health and educating myself. I've written a memoir called Patting the Shark, and that's led to a whole lot of opportunities such as invitations to things like ANZUP. And I guess I'm particularly passionate about promoting ANZUP and clinical trials because I've been a great sort of beneficiary of their work.
Yep.
The trials for early chemotherapy had come out just not long before I was diagnosed, and so the evidence was really clear that early chemo was going to be hugely beneficial in my case, and I think I'm here today, so as fit and well as I am, largely thanks to that. And I've participated in clinical trials for exercise and medicinal cannabis, so big fan of clinical trials. And I'd encourage anyone going through this kind of experience to explore that world.
Yeah, sure. And I guess that sort of leads into, ANZUP, at the end of the day, is relatively medically focused. We want to improve cancer treatments as well as, the quality of life of people. But, it sounds like you've sort of ventured elsewhere to explore things that complement that sort of more traditional, cancer experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think quality of life was a big sort of concern of mine. I understood the treatments were going to be pretty debilitating. I had a very active life. I surfed, I travelled, I had a really quite amazing lifestyle prior to my diagnosis. I write about surfing for a living. It's kind of a ridiculous vocation. So, I very quickly decided that I was just going to do whatever I could to stay fit and healthy, that my oncologist would advise me on, mainstream and, conventional therapies, but that I'd just be really proactive about things like exercise and diet and meditation. And I sort of developed my own little self-care mantra, which is that I've just got to take my meds, MEDS, which stands for meditation, exercise, diet and sleep. And so that's what I can do for myself alongside sort of mainstream treatments.
Sure. It's probably a good policy for all of us.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to imagine any kind of adverse responses to any of those things. Yeah, you can't really overdose on any of them, and I don't think they're contraindicated for any, conventional therapies. So, it seemed to work.
Yeah, and so we've come today from the Community Engagement Forum where we, alongside actually with one of your regular doctors, sat down and had a conversation about I guess how clinical trials fit into routine care and, how we can communicate better between, patients and doctors and the whole team looking after you.
Yeah. It was a super positive experience because I felt like it sort of puts us on equal footing just to have a conversation. And that we inform each other's sort of experiences. Because I see it very much as a collaboration. Like, my job is to stay fit and healthy and well for as long as possible. And then the medical community, develop new treatments and advise me on the best treatment options as I go forward. And so I really love that idea of this kind of fairly equal partnership.
Yeah, and I think that actually rang home for me. There was yourself and a few other patients in that forum. And, everyone came in with probably a different agenda, different priorities, and trying to tailor as the doctor behind all of that, trying to tailor the recommendation to the person in front of you is, the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's all well and good to have the best new treatment, but if it doesn't suit that person for whatever reason, that's, not going to help, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I read somewhere in the sort of vast library of sort of cancer memoirs I've read, someone saying, ask not what's the matter with you, but ask what matters to you. And I love that phrase because I think that informs your sort of treatment pathway. What are the things that you want to maintain to maintain quality of life? And I think that if you can keep those things in place, life's going to be more rich and meaningful. And I think that can only help your cancer outcomes.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, on sort of the other side, knowing those things as the doctor really helps as well. It makes my job more fulfilling as to start to know a little bit more about you as a person, but also to try to make that recommendation so that we're not off target.
Absolutely. So it was super important to me to keep surfing and keep writing, and I've been able to use intermittent hormone therapy with really good results, both in terms of managing my cancer and mitigating side effects of treatment. So I've learned a lot along the way, and I've been really grateful that my medical specialists have been really open to that kind of two-way dialogue.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree, and I think I'd like to think we're doing better at it, but there's certainly going to be a spectrum, and not one size doesn't fit all.
No, for sure. And I think I'm a big believer in sort of patient empowerment. So that patients feel like they have some agency. That they just don't feel like they just kind of have to nod and say yes to everything, that they can ask questions. And I mean, I understand medical specialists are busy, but I've found, generally my doctors have been really receptive, and they like patients who are proactive, because everyone wants the best outcome for you. So I felt very supported in that.
Yeah, and I think there's a spectrum in terms of how much information patients want and so forth.
Sure.
But I think, again, for me, if I am just following a course, the person doesn't ask any questions, and this happens over and over again, that's not a very fulfilling job.
No.
It's just protocol driven. Anyone could do it.
Sure.
But trying to have those conversations and tailor it, actually, I think make our job better.
Yeah. And look, everyone's different. I mean, I think it's sometimes seems like a bit of a generational thing. There's an older generation who've been brought up with the idea that just do whatever your doctor tells you. And I mean, certainly I have enormous respect for the expertise and the qualifications of my doctors. But it is, I think it's important to have buy-in with your sort of treatment pathway. So if you really understand it and you understand the pros and cons and you kind of sign up for it, rather than it being something that's just purely imposed upon you, you're going to have a better outcome.
No, I think, completely entitled to get that information. It's your life, and whatever makes this experience that you didn't sign up for more palatable, then we should do everything we can to do that.
Yeah, and I feel like 8 years on, life's good. I feel great. I've got a great quality of life. Still surfing, basically asymptomatic. I mean, I don't really know who to thank other than some benevolent creator, or but so far so good, and I'm just super grateful. And the conference has been amazing, just to see how many smart people are in my corner, working for better treatment options and managing treatment pathways. And so it's been such a positive experience being here.
It's been great having you.
Yeah, excellent.
Look forward to seeing you around.
Okay,
Right.
lovely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.